بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Brothers and sisters, many of you will know that there is a discussion raging between myself and brother Imran ibn Mansur, known as Dawah man. He has been debating the issue of the Mawlid of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We've seen that this discussion has been happening for the last 2 weeks or so nearly. He has now got to a point where he's putting videos out saying the Mawlid debate is coming to an end. The Mawlid debate can't come to an end until I agree that it's going to come to an end. You can present your proofs and close the chapter, but until I say, because I'm the one who actually used the word debate, I debate you, I want to debate you, to which you still haven't given me a response. But then anyhow, you've obviously now come to a conclusion where you want to conclude the debate and you want to end it here. So let me make this clear. It's not going to end on your say so. It will end when I say so and you agree with that, or you say so and I agree with that. And I hope that we can come to an agreement, as a lot of the neutrals out there want to see that. But in any case, anyhow, I want to just highlight and remind everyone that this discussion started with him claiming that the Mawlid is haram. Celebrating the Mawlid of the Prophet ﷺ is haram. It's impermissible. You cannot celebrate it. This is what his claim was. And we know from the sayings of the Prophet ﷺ and from the text of fiqh that al-bayyanatu al-mudda'i, the onus of evidence and proof is upon the claimant. He made this claim that it's haram. I want to make one point clear. Haram can only be established from a dalil qat'i, from an indefinitive proof that comes from Quran or Sunnah. He is yet till today proved to me and everyone else that is pro-Mawlid that the Mawlid celebration is haram. He has not presented a single clear-cut verse from the Quran or a clear-cut hadith of the Prophet ﷺ to say it's haram. This is where the discussion started. Very quickly after he put his videos out, I've put my 2.5 hour rebuttal and refutation of him. He's now started making videos. And if you have been keeping up to date and listening, I'm starting to see that the discussion of the permissibility, or on his understanding the impermissibility of the Mawlid, is moving away from this discussion, and now it started on this Imam is not capable, he doesn't know the Arabic language, what sort of Imam are you following, blind followers as the people are saying on Facebook, etc. So it's become more about me, that I'm not capable to represent the Deen or present the Deen. You know, he's saying all of these things and he's changing the discussion, and the discussion, the tide is moving towards myself as opposed to the discussion of Mawlid. Till now, I have not responded to any of what he has said. The cartoons he's drawn, the hints he's had at me. Till today, he's not even mentioned my name yet. I refer to him as Brother Imran, etc. But because it's important to know, as he always mentions, and I also believe, فَانْظُرُوا عَمَّنْ تَأْخُذُونَ دِينَكُمْ, where you take your religion from. I think it's very important to know who Brother Imran is when it comes to his qualifications and abilities as somebody who, he refers to himself as a street lad, a jahil, I don't know. What does he actually know about the Arabic language? What does he know about the scholars, etc.? The first point I want to shed on, and I'm going to be very honest with yourselves, my brothers and sisters, that this is not a deliberate ploy to have a character assassination on him. It's very clear he's been doing that to me. I'm just going to make clear on what his understanding of the language is and where he has actually made severe errors and mistakes. You've already seen that he doesn't know the name of Imam Bukhari's Sahih correctly. We've already seen that this individual has pronounced Kitabul Khitat as Kitabul Khutat. Unlike this, there have been many other errors and mistakes that he's made. But he always defends himself by saying, I'm not an Imam, I don't know how to be an Imam, I'm not an Imam, I'm not qualified, I'm a street lad, I'm a jahil. These are his words. This is what he says. And in future videos, we'll make that clear, where he himself has referred to himself as I'm a jahil, I don't know, I don't know. So I'm going to make it clear to yourselves actually how much he does know and how much he doesn't know. So we've seen some of the errors that he's made. He's obviously picking up my errors and flaws and faults, but that's not my intention. My intention is not to expose him, or my intention isn't to belittle him. My intention is to make the awam, the people, clear as to who this individual is, whether he's capable. His own words were, I am a jahil. I am ignorant. So the people should ask, should you be taking knowledge from such an individual? He can then bring refutations and he can bring his defense in saying, well, the Prophet said, Man qala ana alimun fahuwa jahil. Whoever says an alim, I've never said I'm an alim. I'm a student of knowledge. I'm a student of the great scholars of the past and the scholars here now as well. I study their books. I study with my teachers, etc. But this is an individual who, he says that he doesn't know nothing. Would you take knowledge from an ignorant person? I just want you to think on that for a moment. Anyhow, I want to bring attention to yourselves with the first point, which is, what does he actually regard the likes of Imam Suyuti, Imam Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani and Imam Ibn Hajar al-Haytami? What does he actually, how does he value and consider them? Just listen to this clip for one moment.
Because everyone agrees that Mawlid is a bid'ah. Even the scholars who said that you can do it, Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, Ibn Hajar al-Haytami, Imam al-Sakhawi, Imam al-Suyuti, they all said the asl of celebrating the Prophet's birthday is that it's not permissible and it's a bid'ah. It's a bid'ah. They all said it. But then they permitted it and they made a mistake in that. And they made a mistake in that. And they made a mistake in that.
So he first starts by saying the scholars, they've said it's a bid'ah, it's impermissible, but then they allowed it and then they made a mistake. Ajib. It's amazing, isn't it? I can't believe that you are saying Imam Suyuti rahmatullah alayhi, an individual, a great scholar, Jalaluddin Abu Bakr as-Suyuti, this man who's regarded as the reviver of his time, of his century, an individual who's not wrote one but two tafsirs of the Quran. Yes, he wrote half of Tafsir Jalalain, the other was by Jalaluddin al-Muhalli. Yes, we know that. This is an individual who has not once, not twice, not 50, not 60, but nearly over 70 times seen the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in a wakeful state. This is an individual who was Bahrul Ulum. He was an ocean of the sciences of Islam. He was a master of the Arabic language. You're telling me he made a mistake? You're telling me the one who you praise in one video saying Ibn Hajar, the one who commentated on the Sahih of Imam al-Bukhari, he's made a mistake? You're telling me Ibn Hajar al-Haytami, he's made a mistake? Fear Allah Almighty that you are now saying that the great scholars of the past made a mistake. Who are you to pass this judgment? That they made a mistake? Tell me that. How can you say that these scholars made a mistake? You can say you made a mistake. You can even say I made a mistake. No problem, I'll take that. But we will not accept you saying that the great scholars of Islam, of the Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah, they made mistakes. How can you say they made a mistake? What did they think? They did not understand bid'ah. You know bid'ah better than they do. You understand the deen better than they do. Where have you taken your knowledge from? Who are you taking your knowledge from that you are now cursing and attacking? You are labeling, you are attributing mistake to who? To the great scholars. Never mind, and let's not even come to the point of what you've been attributing to Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala an. By saying Sayyidina Umar's qawl, leave it. Forget it. Who needs Sayyidina Umar's qawl when the Quran and Sunnah is there? The way you've termed it, the way you've worded it. My brothers and sisters, ask yourself this question. Ask him that you now know about this deen and they don't. They spend years for no reason. We're taking our knowledge from people who spend their entire life seeking knowledge, seeking the true deen from the great righteous scholars of the Ahlul Sunnah. We're going to discard all that and we're going to jump direct to the main sources, the Quran and Sunnah. How are you going to jump direct to the Quran and Sunnah? You don't even know the Arabic language. You don't even understand. That's why we follow A'immah. That's why we follow Imams. They made our life easy. They understood the deen. They did istidlal, they did istinbat, they derived rulings and then they presented it to the people. That's the job of a scholar. A scholar does that. But you, my brother, are saying that these scholars made mistakes. Fear Allah Almighty that you attribute such a thing to him. How can you? Have you seen the Prophet ﷺ? A question, Imam Suyuti seen him over 70 times, not in their dream, whilst they were awake. It's amazing, isn't it? These were great scholars, and you are tackling them. Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, you agree with him. Imam Ibn Hajar al-Haytami, these great scholars, you're saying they all made a mistake. I can't believe that you've said that. Anyhow, now that you've considered them to be wrong and they made a mistake, and you consider that an individual who explains the Quran has to have mastery of the Arabic language, and you have been explaining the Quran according to your understanding and ideology and your manhaj and minhaj, you've been going according to that. Now let's see the level of mastery of the Arabic language you've done. Before that, let's first listen to the clip where you've made this statement and claim that you need to have mastery of the Arabic language.
The very minimum and very basic thing that we need to have mastery over, at least, is the Arabic language.
He said the bare minimum you need to have when explaining or understanding the Quran is mastery of the Arabic language. You have to be a master of the language. That's the bare minimum. So I think that rules you out of that, according to what's going to come up next. My brother, you're out of that. You don't even have the bare minimum. I don't think you have the M within the minimum. To be a master of this language, let's see how you've understood the Arabic language. I rule myself out. I'm a student of the language. I'm a student of knowledge. But you, my brother, you're off the streets. You, my brother, are known as Dawah man. You, my brother, are known as a Jahil. You call yourself as a Jahil. And you're telling me that the criterion for understanding the Quran is the bare minimum mastery. Bare minimum is mastery of the Arabic language. Let's look at the bare minimum mastery he has when he reads the Arabic language, the texts.
وإن كل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة.
Let me just make something clear. He said, وَإِن كُلُّ بِدْعَةٍ دَلَالَةٌ. He said, إِن كُلُّ بِدْعَةٍ دَلَالَةٌ. For those who are listening attentively, this, if you don't know the Arabic language, you probably won't get this point. But those who do, they will truly understand. He said, إِن كُلُّ بِدْعَةٍ دَلَالَةٌ. إِن كُلُّ. In is harfu shart, a particle of condition. It comes before a verb in the Arabic language. It doesn't come before a noun, nor does it come before a particle. It doesn't come before a noun, nor does it come before a particle. He said, in kullu bid'atin dalala. If this is in particle, where's the jaza? Where's the conclusion of the outcome of the particle of condition? Where's the conclusion of that condition? Where's the jaza of that? It's nowhere to be seen. He said, in kullu, he's completely made a mistake. He's not even read the text correctly. It's Inna Kulla Bid'atin Dalaathun. Indeed, every innovation is misguidance. And he said, if every innovation is misguidance, he's completely changed the meaning. You say, you need the bare minimum you need to have is the mastery of the Arabic language. I can tell that how much you've mastered the language. Let's go to now the next point. This was his mistake in reading the text of Hafiz Ibn Kathir, Hafiz Ibn Kathir, Ibn Kathir, how he mentioned this here. So let me make this clear now, that he's made a mistake when it came to the point of Inna Kulla Bid'atin Dalaathun. He said in instead of inna, when it should have been inna harf mushabbaha bil fi'l in this regard. So now let's move now on to the next clip, which is the fi'l amr, the one where he says it's fi'l mudari.
فَبِذَلِكَ فَلْيَفْرَحُوا. This is a present tense verb. In the Arabic you call this a fi'l mudari. He called it a fi'l amr. He called it a command verb. To show you how silly that mistake is, and how someone who's an imam, an alim of his people should not make it, is that if I brought you a 6, 7, 8-year-old child from primary school, and you ask them to tell you the difference between a present tense verb, a future tense verb, and a past tense verb, they'd be able to tell you the difference, right? Or at least someone who's 10, 11, 12, they can tell you, this is future tense, this is past tense.
He said that in the Arabic language, فَلْيَفْرَهُ is a present tense verb. I called it fi'l amr, the verb of command. You know, it makes me laugh. When I heard that, I thought, it's amazing. This man claims the bare minimum to understand the Quran is mastery of the Arabic language. Let's just analyze this now then. Leave the fa for one moment. لِيَفْرَحُوا. لِيَفْرَحُوا. He said it's fi'l mudari. We know that fi'l mudari, to identify, it has alif ta ya noon. He mentioned this. And at the end, if it's yafrahu, yafrahani, yafrahuna, there's a noon of jam'ah that is there. The noon of jam'ah drops when you have the huruf jazima that appear before. Those particles that give jazm, sakoon at the end of the word. Lamma, lamul amri and lamul nahi. These are 4 particles which give jazm to the verb. So if you had yafrahuna, take yafrahuna, you put the lam of amr before it. It becomes liyafrahuna. Then we've learned that when the lam of amr comes, it changes the mudari into the meaning of command. It doesn't remain, the meaning doesn't stay as they should be happy. It's not that. Liyafrahu. They must be happy. It's a command. There's wujub inside this. The noon drops. As soon as this noon drops, it doesn't remain as liyafrahuna, becomes liyafrahu. and then put the fa there, فَلْيَفْرَحُوا لِيَفْرَحُوا. If this is mudari, brother Imran, why is the noon dropped? If this is mudari, why are you interpreting it as a command? Why are you translating it as a command? Why aren't you translating this as a present tense verb or a future tense verb? Why are you translating this as a command, a amr? Tell me that. A basic error and mistake that even, you said 7, 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds, even they know. You're right. A 7, 8-year-old who's done Muqaddimah Ajrumiyah, he would know that. They would know the basics of that. You, my brother, don't even know that. You haven't even studied that. Because if you had, you would not have made. He said the lam is here of amr. Yafrahu is fail mudari. But if that is fail mudari, why does it have this command on there? Why is it that this is the amal that it does on that? This is the action, the course it takes on that verb. The verb changes, the meaning changes. The even look of the verb, the noon drops. The lam appears. So my brother, when I ask my first year students that, what's the sigha of فَلْيَفْرَحُوا or لِيَفْرَحُوا, take the fa out again, لِيَفْرَحُوا, and they tell me Imam Sahib is jama mudhakkar ghaib fi'l amr. They don't say it's jama mudhakkar ghaib fi'l mudari. You know why? Because they know the lam has that effect, therefore the entire word becomes the verb of command. So my brother, I think you need to go back and study Ajrumiyah. I think go back and I hope you haven't even got to Shara ibn Aqil, because if you've got to that level, then my brother, you need to have mastery of the language if you're going to talk about the Quran. It's very easy picking faults out in me, but the truth is, look, it's all evident. It's on video, the mistakes that you've made. The mistakes you're making in basic Arabic, and then you're telling the world the Mawlid is impermissible. Yet you still haven't given me proof from Quran and Sunnah that it's impermissible. Anyhow, if we move on, the next mistake, or the next point that you've made, you said you can pick mistakes out of me. I'm an average Joe. You said that in the video. I'm an average Joe. I don't know. You can pick mistakes. You're right. We can't pick mistakes. My brother, I think it's time that you go back to the drawing board and you start understanding the deen as it should be understood. The reason why I'm using this tone and I'm speaking like this is because, my brother, you're hell-bent on proving that I am not worthy, I don't understand this deen. I may be incapable in certain ways. I am human, I make mistakes. But me being on the path of the deen, a student of knowledge, I know these basics. You might come and say, Hafiz ibn Kathir, he said, I did have a bad throat that day. Hafiz ibn Kathir. I'll say it properly for you. Ba'atha, not ba'asa. No problem. I can rectify. I hope that in your next video, you can rectify. You can tell the whole world that it was fi'l amr. You can tell the whole world is huruf mushabbah bil fi'l. It was inna, not in. You can tell the whole world that Sayyidina Umar didn't say low, it was la in kanat. You can rectify and admit to your mistakes. It takes a big man to admit that he's wrong. I hope, Dawah man, you admit to this, that you've made errors, you've made mistakes. And I've not seen your most recent video that you put up about an hour ago, or 2 hours ago. I've not seen that yet. I'll see that later. But till now, you've not presented me any proof that the Mawlid is wrong. Any proof whatsoever. You've not given me no verse of the Quran, no hadith. At the same time, my brother, you haven't presented to me anything which says that the scholars didn't permit this, or anything of that regard. You have miscrooned, you've taken my clips, you've edited them to suit your purpose, to suit your need, to expose me for my faults and my mistakes. No problem. You still haven't answered you've not responded to my challenge. You've not even told me a date and time that I come have a cup of tea with you. But brother, you've not even sat down to debate yet. So I think you need to reevaluate where you're taking all of this. You need to go back to the subject matter at hand. Present to me proofs. I present you proofs to you. If it's a weak hadith, strong hadith. I'm not presenting no fabrication to you. I presented interpretations to you. I presented understandings of the Quran to you. You've taken clips of mine and said, look, he's saying Isa alayhi salam, the birth of Sayyidina Isa, you should celebrate Christmas. He's insinuating that. No, we don't. The Prophet ﷺ said, La tutruni kama atratin nasara ibn Maryam. Do not praise me the way the Christians praised the son of Maryam alayhum as-salam. Don't do that. What did the Prophet ﷺ say here? Tell them that I am the slave of Allah and His messenger. Don't do what the Christians did. We don't say the Prophet is the son of God. We don't say the Prophet is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Aliyadu billah, ma'azallah. We don't believe that. We've never believed that. But we believe in the creation of Allah. There's no one better than the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he deserves the utmost respect. Therefore, if sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, deserve the utmost respect, then surely their birth must deserve the utmost respect as well. Their life must deserve the utmost respect. You said, why don't you celebrate the wedding anniversary? If we knew the date, the exact date, we are happy. We are happy with everything of the Prophet ﷺ. We don't pick and choose, not just the Mawlid, every single thing. You might say, well, you're happy about the death. The Prophet ﷺ said, Hayati khayrun lakum wa mamati khayrun lakum. My living is good for you, my passing is good for you. The Quran tells us, Assalamu alayhi yawma walittu wa yawma amut. Peace be upon the day that the day I was born, Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. When I mentioned this verse of the Quran, you've taken it out of context. I said, and I made my claim. My claim was that Allah acknowledges the significance of the other prophets' birth in the Quran. And then I presented my proofs. And if we can acknowledge, if Allah acknowledges their significance, by default, the Prophet ﷺ was a leader of all the Anbiya in Salah. He's greater than all of them. Therefore, surely, if their birth by default in the Quran, what Allah has mentioned, is mentioned, then the Prophet ﷺ is greater than all that. My brother, it's common sense. Common sense, use your aql. Your people, the Salafi manhaj is a manhaj which uses Russian. It likes to literally take things. Use the Russian and common sense. If it makes sense, no problem. Isn't this common sense? Unlike this, let me make another point clear before I finish. Or let me finish at this, and in my next video I will continue to mention where you have messed up and you've not mentioned what was needed to be mentioned. And at the same time, let me make this clear. You know your point-by-point refutation this Thursday in Gold Sharif Masjid, Birmingham, I'm going to mention it all. Point by point, I'm going to give you a refutation. You've not answered me crazy. You've not answered. I've given you challenges. You've not even responded to my challenges. You've gone and attacked my proofs that I've given for the validity of the Mawlid of the Prophet ﷺ. That's what you've done. So come back to the discussion at hand. Leave how good I am, how capable I am, how capable you are. I want to leave that. I don't want to go down that line. I didn't want to go down this line, but I had no option left. You've left with no option. People need to know the truth behind how much you know about the Arabic language, how much you understand. That you're a street man, you're a jahil, that you said. You with your own words, not my words. You said you're a jahil. So we need to make clear, and we need to make apparent how much ignorance that you have when it comes to understanding the Arabic language and the Deen, and whether people should take knowledge from you or not. It's very easy to say, go on MuslimSurvivalGuide.com, take your knowledge from there. Isn't this an innovation? You might say, oh no, my brother, this can't be an innovation. Why? Because MuslimSurvivalGuide.com, this is talking about the Deen, we're promoting the Deen, but it's in today's day and age. Bid'ah Lugawi, in the next video we're going to talk about Bid'ah Lugawi. We're going to talk about MuslimSurvivalGuide.com. We're going to talk about all these things. I'm going to go down onto your level and talk to you on your level. Because I tried before to talk on a level of a scholarly approach, but I don't think the point gets across to you and those that follow you. You've deleted and blocked so many people who've been commenting on your page. Why? I ask you this question. Give us an answer to that. Why because you don't agree with their opinion, because they don't tick your box, they don't approve of what you're saying, and they've been refuting you. These are just our common awam of the Ahlul Sunnah that know this much. Imagine our great scholars. I'm a student of those great scholars, and I'm doing this. So I've come down onto your level to explain. Anyways, brothers and sisters, I'll see you on Thursday. Watch out, tomorrow's video, inshallah. Thursday, Gold Sharif Masjid in Birmingham, 8 p.m. Be there. There'll be a full-on refutation. You know what? It's hotting up now. Now is the real discussion at hand. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala show the truth. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.